What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the 11 o'clock stream. I don't know, we got to call it something. At some point, I'll figure out a name. But we are here. We are live. We're talking about Game 2. Were the Astros... No, I'm kidding. But did the Braves blow it? That is the question. Did the Braves blow it? Who has momentum heading into Atlanta? In a little bit, we're going to put up the whiteboard. We're going to get your thoughts on who has the momentum heading into Atlanta. Game 3. It's going to be... Now the series is even at once. It's a whole new series. The brunch stream. That's not a bad idea. Got to figure something out. Got to figure out a name for it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk today about if the Braves blew last night. A chance to go up 2-0. There were folks in the chat yesterday, people in the chat yesterday that felt that that Game 2 was actually a must-win game for the Atlanta Braves. I don't necessarily agree with that sentiment, but obviously it would have been nice to go up 2-0. That didn't happen. So we are going to dive into this Daily World Series Digest, but we're going to continue beyond the World Series. That's the thing. So we got to figure out a name for this. I don't know. We'll figure something out. The Astros, they got on Max Fried. It happened. I was worried about the righty bats. The righty bats got on him. So did the lefty bats. You know, he'd been good against the lefties. We're going to take a look at this game. We'll do that. You guys keep the comments coming. Let me know what you think. As always, keep those comments coming. But I do want to just take a look at this game and talk about it. And I want you guys to give me your thoughts. First thing I want to talk about, I enjoy Fansided. I really do. They had an article today, or I guess maybe late last night. 3 awful calls that screwed over the Braves from the World Series in Houston. And I want you guys to let me know, what do you think? Okay. First off, there were only 2. Okay, so the title was misleading. There were only 2 that they referred to. The first one happened in the first inning. Freddie Freeman's 6-ball strikeout. Their whole point was that every pitch was out of the strike zone for Freddie Freeman. There it is. All right. So I cannot continue to do this with the umpires and the outrage and the, oh my God, stop calling that ball a strike. I just can't do it anymore. Eventually, I need my batters, I need my hitters to know, listen, if that ball is close, I got to swing at it because it could be called a strike. Certainly, when you look at what is defined, what MLB puts up on their game day, what Fox puts up on the broadcast, the box that they put up there, the strike zone that they put up there, it's outside of that strike zone. But there is a human being. It's like we're surprised that there is a human being behind the catcher that is determining what is a ball, what is a strike, and we're surprised when there's human error from a human being. Come on, listen, I get it. I don't want there to be a call that the umpire makes at the end of the game that decides the game. But throughout the game, hitters are going to pick up what the strike zone is. They're going to know if pitches outside are being called a strike, pitches low are being called a strike. And that Freddie Freeman at bat, 2 balls that were low and outside on the black were called a strike. So he's got to know in the back of his mind, if there's a ball that's in that zone, that is in Ron Kulpa's strike zone. That is not in the defined MLB strike zone, but that is in Ron Kulpa's strike zone. So I had to swing at that pitch. I might not like the result of swinging at that pitch, but it's better than looking at it and having to walk back to the dugout. Baseball Domain Garcia on the road scares me though. That is an issue, and that's where that's why we're gonna talk about the momentum heading into the next game, because I'm not confident in the Game 3 starter for the Houston Astros. I think that it would have been Garcia is a much better pitcher at home. But Dusty Baker, you saw his what he was doing last night. He was not going to give that game away. He knew that going down 0-2 would have been a big problem. He went out there. He started the better pitcher, right? Overall, the body of work. Jose Urquidy's the better pitcher. And on top of that, he went with his closer. He went with Presley in the 8th. I know you got Graveman too. Graveman was closing out for Seattle, and you went with Graveman in the 9th, and that's all good. But he went with Presley. Dusty Baker was giving nothing back, was leaving nothing to chance last night. And that was his play with Urquidy. Now, he's going to be in an interesting position. Baseball Domain, there has been way more outrageous calls those postseason, so getting upset over a close call going the other way is just stupid. It's happening. We can't be surprised by this anymore. It's part of the game, and we have to understand it. Now, eventually, maybe one day there will be a robo ump, and those calls will be perfect, and that will change the game drastically. It's going to be hard to pitch in a world where there is absolutely no leeway on the strike zone. That is going to be hard to pitch. You don't think pitchers pick up on that? Jose Urquidy, in that at-bat with Freddie Freeman, he knew that low and outside pitch was being called a strike. That's why he went back to it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to pitch in that world. Human element is what makes baseball great. It's a big part of it. You cannot overlook it. Truth be told, I honestly do not think there will ever be robo umps. I think half of the union would explode in outrage. Pitchers are not going to want to pitch in that environment. And again, you change the environment. There will never be another no-hitter, in my opinion. There will never be another perfect game. If the strike zone is exactly as it is, hitters are going to master that. It will be hard to pitch. I think, again, the human element is part of the game. Love it or hate it. Astros fans loved that call. Braves fans hated it. I get that. That's just the way it is. How did he know it was the second batter of the game? Well, he knew because it was the third pitch in that location that had been called a strike. So what was it? It was pitch. Let's see. The third and the fourth pitch were in that zone. All right. So anyway, that's the Freddie Freeman thing. Then there was the error on the ball in the glove, as Fanside writes it. That was the play where Ozzie Albies was trying to catch, make a quick transition, and throw to first base. Ball fell out, and they ruled the runner was safe, and the inning continued. Here's my thing about that. It was already 5-2 at that point. They weren't going to get the runner out at first. If they get the runner out at second, the score is 6-2 because there was a runner on third that was going to score. It goes 6-2. The Braves didn't get to 6. If the Braves had gotten to 6, then sure, I would say that call screwed them over. But Ozzie Albies catching and dropping, or just straight up dropping, however you look at it, that did not, as Fanside had put it, screw over the Braves because it was already 5-2. It was going to be 6-2 no matter what, because again, they were not going to get the runner out at first, and they, the Braves never got to 6, so it was irrelevant. The play was an out, but it didn't affect the game. Neither of them scored. Right, exactly. The runner on third at the start of that play was going to score no matter what. It was going to be 6-2 no matter what. And again, the run didn't score. So fan-sided, adding fuel to the fire for any Braves fans that are really irritated over last night's game. But I don't think it's the umps. I don't think the umpires really had any decision, any factor in this. And again, I'm kind of disappointed in Fansided for throwing the umpires into the mix here. This is not on the umps. If those are your two calls that you say the Braves got screwed on, then you really don't have much of a case, in my opinion. There was a lack of timely hitting from the Braves here. Max Fried got roughed up. The Astros bounced back. Had a feeling the Astros would bounce back. Let's do this. Let's take a look at the game real quick. So here's the situation. Here's what we got. The way this thing started for the Braves, with Rosario and Freeman striking out to start the game, and then Albies getting a single and Riley getting a single, those outs from the first two hitters, that hurt. You could have had one run, maybe two, and then Soler, who had the big game in game one, strikes out in game 3. Jose Urquidy, you got to give him credit for getting through that first inning. Strikes out the side. Urquidy was good. Is it just last night? The entire Dodger series at home, ump was against the Braves more than for, and in game 1 it was huge in Houston favor. But are they for them? I don't think you can say that they're for them. The calls are gonna be even. They don't want Houston to win. The umps. This is going to be a situation where if you want to say that the calls have not been going Atlanta's way to this point, that is something that should even out or get to a point where where the umps are irrelevant because you win the game 6-2. Because bad calls are going to happen. They're going to happen. And that's what you need to be prepared for. Need to be in a situation where the umps don't control the game, where it doesn't matter if a couple bad calls go your way. I mean, as a fan of sports since forever, watching baseball and football and basketball, I watch these games. I'm like, listen, if my team lost because an ump or a ref missed a call, I hate that. But at the same time, I wish my team would have been in a situation where that didn't matter. All right, so we look at that. Unfortunately, the first inning does not go the way for the Braves. Soler strikes out with 2 on. And then in the bottom of the first, Jose Altuve, who was over 5 in game 1, doubles to start the game. So right from the bat, you've got a runner in scoring position. We've talked about Max Fried. Most pitchers have a high batting average against where the win probability can shift drastically. But right off the bat, you put a runner on second base. Giving Houston a chance. That first inning has been a tough inning for Fried. He only gives up 1 because from there Brantley and Bregman sacrifice Altuve over and in. And then he gets Yordan Alvarez out. But that second inning, it all sort of went to hell in the second inning. You get the d'Arnaud home run to tie it up, and you love that. Because d'Arnaud has been swinging a noodle of a bat in this postseason, and he hits a home run, ties the game up. All of a sudden, you feel good about that. But that second inning, so you get into trouble with those 2 hits, and then Jose Siri gets all over this game. He beats out the play at first base. Good hustle by him. Barely made it. So Jose Siri makes it. So we continue with just the 1 out in the inning and not 2. With Siri's hustle, with his speed getting down to first base. That's a big moment in this game because that drives in a run. It leaves us in a 1-out situation, and the inning continues. And then there's that goofy play where Eddie Rosario threw it to nobody at third base, and another run scores. So you can look at this game, if you want to try to find the moment where it shifted, it was that second inning, Jose Siri beating out the play at first, and then the very next batter, Maldonado, hits the ball to the left, and Siri gets to score because Rosario threw it to nobody. Swanson was not at third. Riley wasn't at third. That was the problem. Apple plays the shifts. I don't like shifting, especially with 2 outs. If you wanna have a shift to start the at bat, okay. But with these batters are obviously going to be changing their approach. They're going to be looking for their pitch early in the at bat to play to their strengths. But later in the game or later in the at bat, they're going to be adjusting to try to just get on base. I mean, we saw that on both sides. So, good point there. Apple plays with the shifting. Again, if you want to shift for the first until there's 2 strikes and then move them back, that's one thing. That would, you get into delaying the game if you're doing that all game long. Baseball Domain, I think they should ban the shift. It takes away from the game. I think they can have a shift, but I think it needs to be regulated. I think it needs to be regulated similar to how it is in the NFL. And in the NBA. The NBA, there's a legal defense. The NFL, there is illegal formations on offense, right? I think that baseball should come up with some system where you always have to have 2 guys on the left side. You always have to have 2 on the right side. Now, you can put your shortstop or your second baseman like right at the bag, but you cannot have three. You cannot overload. That's what I think they should take overloading away. I think you should have you have to have two on the left, two on the right, and you have to keep them on the dirt. You can put them deep, you put them back, right on the edge, but having a second baseman playing in shallow right field, all that stuff. Baseball domain, I'm with you on that. I'm okay. Shifting should be allowed, but it should be regulated. That's what I would do, quite frankly. Or have players move as the pitch is thrown. I mean, I guess you could do that. That would be kind of funny to watch. I think sometimes you could see, Ozzie Albies running to the other side of the base, and then the ball gets hit one way. I mean, you can get hurt doing that. Who pitches game 4 and 5 for Atlanta? That's a big point. We're going to get to that in a minute when we talk about who has the momentum, because that's a big factor here. I think with the loss, who pitches game 4? Game 4 is going to be a bullpen day, Macho. That's going to be a bullpen day, but game 5 is going to depend on what the series is at. Is it 2-2? Is it 3-1? I think that's going to be a determining factor, because you might need to start Max Fried on short rest. You might need to do that. Now, Max Fried in this game went 5 innings. I can't remember how many pitches he threw. I think he threw 70 or 80 some pitches. Let's go back and look at that. Max Fried threw 86 pitches. So, I mean, that's getting up there. Could you start Max Fried on 3 days rest? If you're down 3-1, you might have to. Or at least, go with your best bullpen guy to open and then get 3 innings out of Fried. They're going to go scramble mode if it happens. Edward, they'll go into scramble mode if they're down. I think you have to see Fried on 3 days rest, either as the starter or as a bulk guy. Wright did look good last night. Good point on that. 3 strikeouts, struck out the side. VP Collectibles, I thought Fried got unlucky with some of the hits Astros had in the second inning. No doubt about it. We'll take a look at that. So we talked about the first and second inning. That's where this game was decided. After that, the bullpen, Urquidy was cruising. The Braves bullpen did well. Fried did a good job of giving the Braves some more innings. I actually think listen, if we're thinking about starting Max Fried on 3 days rest, it might have been good to get him out of there at like pitch 70 or something. Get him out of there after the 4th if you're thinking you might need him for another game. But it is what it is. Let's take a look at this game. So, again, and this is a very white screen. I look washed out, so I apologize for that. But listen, Edward, AJ Minter could definitely be an opener. I think that's in play. So here's the thing to note. Talking about Max Fried and getting unlucky and everything, I know some of you might be watching this on your phone. Might be hard to see. But Max Fried only had 5 hard hit balls. Same with Jose Urquidy. We'll take a look at it, but I think it was 4 of the 5 hardest hit balls were by the Atlanta Braves. So in this situation, Max Fried, sure, you could say there was some luck that came into play. Jay Morton going down will likely impact Braves, much like Bassitt's injury taxed the A's bullpen. The Morton situation is where, when Morton got hurt, going up 2-0 became even more important for Atlanta. Give you an extra game to work with. Now they don't have that. There's no games to work with right now. They need 3 wins. You're going to have Ian Anderson 2 more times. You'll have Fried 1 more time. The way Fried pitched the first couple innings, I don't know how confident you're going to feel with Max Fried. So that's going to be interesting. All right, so we're just looking at this. Again, just taking a look at it. The hard hit, Urquidy, the Braves got some hard hits off him, but Urquidy was tough. His stuff was, in my opinion, I think a little bit better. But we're going to take a closer look at that. So I wanted to highlight that. Michael Brantley just continues to hit. I tell you, as a Jays fan, really would have been nice to have Michael Brantley on the team this year. Michael Brantley is just so amazing at hitting a baseball. He had 3 hits in game 1, 2 hits last night. That's what makes it even more important for Altuve to do his thing. Even one of Brantley's outs was a sacrifice that got Altuve to third, and then Bregman drove Altuve in. So, 3 hits from ABC last night, as opposed to 0 the night before, contributing to contributing to 3 runs. So a big turnaround, a nice turnaround from them. That's what they need. Your number 1 hitter, your leadoff hitter can't go 0 for 5. All right, so let's look at this next. Trying to figure out what went wrong with Max Fried. There was talk about, was he tipping his pitches his last start against the Dodgers? I did see some comments on the video when we talked about Max potentially tipping his pitches, and they were saying that his windup was faster when he was throwing the fastball. Listen, I mean, I don't think he was tipping his pitches last night. What we did see, just looking at his mix, it was slider, curveball, 4-seam fastball. I didn't like his curveball last night. I did not like it at all. I felt like it was not effective. Let's see, Steve, give it to Wright. He has flashes and was electric last night. They might have, Game 5 is going to be an important game. You could see Wright. You could see Minter. You could see Fried on short rest. Judicious, analytical. If the Braves don't sweep at home, they won't win the World Series, so they bet not come back to Houston. I think if the Braves get 2 of 3, they're okay. If they get 1 of 3, they're in trouble. This game, to your point, I'll take it a different way. This game can't go 7 for the Braves. If it goes 7, I think Houston wins. You don't want to be the road team in a Game 7 in Houston, especially. If they get 2 out of 3, I think they got to try to win it in 6. Fried won't pitch till Game 6. That if you want him to be at his most effective, that's the way to go. But if you're down 3-1, and there's no point in saving Max Fried, right? If potentially you don't get to play another game. There's no beauty in saving Max Fried if he could pitch for you in Game 5 if you're down 3-1. Steve, he was pounding the inside of the plate. Astros are a good team to turn on those. He didn't have it last night and rarely pitched outside. It just felt like when I was watching it, his fastball, the slider kept coming in. It seemed from the get-go that the righty bats were looking for that Bregman was looking for that Altuve was looking for that. And that curveball just was dropping out. Listen, if you're the hitter, your approach, if it's looping, let it go. That curveball, if it's looping, let it go, because that thing was falling out of the strike zone most of the time. And if it's fast, it's coming in. It just felt predictable. It felt predictable. The horizontal break on his slider was not there. For the year, 9 inches was the horizontal break on the slider. Last night, he averaged 3. So the horizontal break on the slider wasn't there, which means it's kind of coming in looking more like a fastball, or with more movement like a fastball. So that's a problem. I think that hurt him as well. JL, last 2 games, 7 in World Series went to the road team, so going 7 could benefit the Braves. That's, I know that. I understand that. I think the Braves need to get it done in 6. That's a good point. I think the Braves need to get it done in 6. Innings 3 to 5, he was very, very good. And that was, he got it together. I think he made some adjustments. But I didn't like the movement on the slider, and that was one of the things that stood out for me from Max last night. I don't know if he was tipping his pitches in the first 2 innings. I don't think so. I think it was more about how things played out on the field with the Siri play, making it to first, and then Rosario with the bad throw into third. So I think that's more on him, but they were hitting him, and maybe it comes down to that slider just not having the same break that it has on the year. On the year, the average is 9 inches on his break. Last night it was just 3, and that makes it a different pitch, and that I think hurt him last night. So that was sort of what stood out for me for Max Fried was that. Looking at Looking at Jose Urquidy, his fastball, the changeup slider, his spin rate was up last night. He had a good grip on the ball. The velo, everything looked good for him. Now he was throwing the slider a little bit faster, but that's not that much of an indication of much. You look at velocity down, anything like that. The fastball for Fried was fine. Urquidy pitched well. I think that the ball was just harder to hit. His spin rate was up higher, making the fastball harder to hit and the slider harder to hit. So another interesting note that the Astros kept Christian Javier on a short leash. I think that's an indication that you could see Christian Javier again in Game 3. And you guys know my feeling about Christian Javier. I think he's the best pitcher on the Astros. So you had Javier. And again, when it went to the bullpen, Javier did not give up a run. Maton, no runs allowed. Presley, Graveman, no runs allowed. And again, with Baker going to Presley in the 8th, showed you exactly where his head was at. Smiley appeared in last night's game. Doesn't give you much hope for Smiley to be a long man in a bullpen game, but we'll see. Edward Campos, bad luck or not? It's gonna his wait. Let me repeat that. Let me look. Edward, concerned about Fried's mental state after 2 bad outings. Bad luck. I think you shake it off. I honestly think you shake it off. The Angry Braves are undefeated at home in the postseason. It's great that if you're 1-1, you want to be heading home. If you're 1-1, you want to be heading home. The Braves have home field advantage. They snatched home field advantage away from Houston when they took Game 1. Did they announce the pitchers already for Game 3? Well, we knew that it was going to be Garcia for the Astros, which again I think is a mistake. And the Braves have announced Ian Anderson, so you like that. Ian Anderson's been good. We'll do the deep dive into Garcia and Anderson tomorrow for the show, but just sort of grazing the top. I like Anderson starting at home. I like his pitch mix. I like everything he brings to the table and how it matches up against these Astro hitters. I do not like Garcia pitching on the road. I think that's a tough break. And neither team has announced Game 4 yet, which makes sense. You'll have if Zach Greinke's the starter in Game 4, the Braves are gonna have to jump on him. Yes, definitely hit the like if you're in here hanging out with us on a Thursday, middle of the day, or if you're on the West Coast, early morning. Hit that like if you're enjoying what we're doing. It's a great way to show some support for the channel. Play better on the road. Trey, Astros play better on the road. Astros, what's the road record this postseason? Do you know that off the top of your head? Against Boston, what'd you get? You got 2 of the games against Boston, right? And I think did you get both games against the White Sox? I mean, you got to be able to play well on the road to get to this point. And yeah, they've obviously been winning games on the road. All right, so we were looking at that. We were looking at the pitchers, looking at the pitch mix for Fried. Again, opposing hitters last night, 333 off him, a hard hit rate of 33%, just 1 barrel. It really wasn't that bad. Again, this breaks down to Greinke and Javier makes Game 4 very well could be. Astros won 2 out of 3 at Fenway. You can win there. You can win anywhere. What's interesting about Fried, again, this is why I don't think Fried, it's not going to be in his head. He'll go back. He'll look at his report. He'll look at 1 barrel. He'll look at a decent hard hit rate. I mean, his hard hit rate was 31%. Urquidy's was 35%. So when you're looking at everything, this really broke down to, for Max Fried, that second inning. That second inning, Siri breaking it out, making it to first base, the bad throw from Rosario, just it got away from him. That is ideally not going to happen regularly. So Max Fried should be able to bounce back. He should be fine. 75% sure Fried is going to pitch Game 5 from the Angry Brave. If they're down 3-1, Fried is going to pitch in Game 5. If they're down 3-1. My feeling is you will see Max Fried in game 5. Why do you hold him for a game 6 that may not happen? What'll be interesting is what do they do if the series is tied at 2? If the series is tied at 2, if they split game 3 and game 4, what do they do? Now, if they're up 3-1, you won't see Max Fried in game 5. I don't think you do. But if they're the question is what happens if it's even? Let's see. Trey, let's see. Tuck only played 9 center field games. Only thing I'm scared of, him and Garcia. Yeah, Garcia on the road is not good. I think you'll be okay. Because what happens is this. You get late in the game, you move the defense around. Once you feel confident that Yordan Alvarez has had his final at-bat in the game, you get him out of the field. You move Tucker back to his spot, you move Brantley back to left, and you bring in McCormick to play center. So late in the game, you just hope that the first 7 innings, 8 innings, you hope that you get Alvarez through so that way you don't have Alvarez, you're not counting on Alvarez in the 9th inning. You make a defensive switch. Let's see. Apple, even if they're down 3-1, you don't see Fried pitching in game 5. We will see. Let's see. Angry Brave, Fried pitches if it's even, in my opinion. I don't know. I think they want to get the most effective Max Fried that they can get. And obviously holding him to game 6 would be you get the most effective version of Max Fried. But if the season's on the line, you're down 3-1. I think it becomes an all hands on deck situation because you could go with Fried for game 6, and if he can get it together, if he can get through in game 5, then game 6 you go with Ian Anderson. Ian Anderson's rest will be fine for game 6, and then you gotta you hope and you pray for game 7. That's where not having Charlie Morton is a big issue. If this game goes to 7, not having Charlie Morton. Let me look at one more thing. What else did I have? So we're just taking a look again. We're looking at Max Fried, trying to figure out what happened. And what I believe is that Max Fried, it's just the Astros strung together hits, and then the Astros had things play out in their favor. That second inning. That second inning was the moment. It wasn't the umps with the Ozzie Albies thing at second base or any of the strikeouts. It was that second inning. Jose Siri's hustle, making it to first base, not being the second out, keeping it at a 1-out situation, 2 on, and then Rosario just throwing it to nobody at third base, allowing Siri to then get up and score. Trey, we also hit better versus lefties, so I feel like if they do a bullpen game, 4 and 5 might take off. We'll see. Game 1, the lefties did well, if my memory serves me right. Minter was solid. I know Minter gave up a run, but Dansby Swanson, it's basic baseball. Let the ball get into your glove. Minter was good. They did score a run on Matzik. They got a couple hits on Matzik. I believe that was Alvarez that got him. So they did score a couple runs on the 2 tough lefties, but Will Smith was good. So I think we're still in the way they got on Fried. In game 3, if they're jumping on the lefty pitchers again, then that strength for the Braves might not be a strength in this series. Game 3 will be very telling if they can get onto Matzik. If we see Minter, if they get to Minter. If Smith gets into trouble. Smith pitched well the first game. Matzik did give up the hits and give up a run to Yordan Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez drove in a run. And then Minter gave up a run, but I don't think that was really his fault. Minter came in and was pretty good. 2 2/3, 3 hits, 1 run. That should not have happened. And then we look at the hardest hit balls. This is what we were talking about earlier. 4 of the 5 hardest hit balls were by the Braves. Soler's double off of Javier. Dansby Swanson single off Urquidy. Darno's home run. Austin Riley's single in the first inning. So you had the hardest hit balls, 4 of the 5 were off of were by Braves bats, but the problem is it was not enough. Collectively throughout the game, the Astros just did enough. B2TB podcast, a tough game for the Braves last night. So the question is, again, the question I posed to you guys, did the Braves blow it? Who has the momentum heading into this thing? Let's get the whiteboard up. I want your opinions. We're about a half hour into the show. We're going to get the whiteboard up, and I want you to tell me who's got the momentum heading into this series, this game 3, this Atlanta portion of the series. Did Houston take the momentum yesterday from Atlanta, or does Atlanta still have it? Is coming out of Houston with a win, with the series even at 1, is that momentum enough? Even though they took an L, who heads into Atlanta with the momentum? Comment in the chat. I'll put you on the whiteboard. Who's got the momentum? I think Atlanta still has momentum, but it could completely swing after the first couple innings of game 3. It really depends on what happens with Garcia and how the Braves come out. Max wasn't good. That's the biggest problem. He gave up too many hits. They weren't hitting him hard, but he did get into some trouble. Settled down though, right? Getting through the rest of that performance, that appearance was good to keep the bullpen rested. Hurts your chances if you were hoping he would pitch in game 3. What game were we talking about? Game 3 is what we're talking about. Game 5. Let's see. Steve, you have Atlanta still with the momentum. Baseball Domain momentum, and if the Braves blew it, will be determined after game 3. Good call. Apple plays Braves have momentum. In baseball, momentum is only as good as the next starting pitcher, and I like Anderson way more than Garcia. Right, and we're going to dive into Anderson and Garcia in tomorrow's show. But again, it does not look great for the Astros with Garcia tomorrow. Angry Brave. Braves have to lean on their righties. Anderson, Chavez, Wright, and Jackson. Edward. Astros have to have the momentum. Garcia has a good day, and it's a very good road for the Braves. A very tough road for the Braves. Edward, you have Houston. JL, nobody has momentum. That's fine. That works. We put that up there. But it's must win for the Braves. Anderson needs to go 5. 2 bullpen games worry me about the state of their pen during this 3. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. 3-game stretch. Matthew, Garcia is a big ground out guy, so between a big game by Altuve, I think the Astros have it here. I'm getting a spam call. You have Houston. Let's decline that. Baseball Domain, I still lean with Atlanta having momentum just because they're going home. J22 Sports, Astros clearly have the momentum. Let's see. B2TB Podcast. Yes, series tied. Atlanta still has momentum, but pressure is going to be big time. Yes, it is. It's Knicks. Braves went in there trying to win 1. Well, yeah. I mean, they got 1. Now they need to take care of it at home. Trey Lee, weather looks like it's going to be bad for Game 3, so I'll say Braves. J22 Sports Report. Just go look at Houston's history. Last 3 Game 7 series, they pulled off 3 wins in a row. They did lose Game 7 to the Nats, though. Nick, Houston has momentum. J22 Sports Report. Games 3 to 6. Astros are so dangerous in that part of the series. Chris Rogers, you have Houston. Again, welcome in, everybody. Appreciate you being here in the middle of the day on a Thursday. Make sure to hit that like if you haven't hit the like yet. Steve, telling you, man, throughout Game 5, let him pitch, and they have barely seen him. This can be his momentum. Wright could be an X factor here. Apple plays. Let's not forget last year Atlanta was up 2 on the Dodgers, lost game 3, won game 4, then lost 3 straight. This year they were up 2-0, lost game 3, won game 4, lost 5, and it would have been easy to think here we go again, but they fought back. This Atlanta team will overcome. They are a tough team. They have had to overcome a lot during the regular season, and I think that helps them now. Matthew Mann, thank you for the sub. Welcome to Ballcap Nation. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. I'm glad to have you here. Let's see. Mbala. Whoever's bullpen holds up will have some momentum because these offensive can strike anytime. Yes, they can. Neil, Houston has momentum. They're a really good road team. Ask the Red Sox. You're right, Neil. They got them. The Angry Brave. Atlanta still has the advantage 3 of the next 5 at home. That's the point. And that's the question. That's where the question is. I think you can go either way. Is the Angry Brave. We know that Atlanta just lost. A lot of times momentum is, who won the last game or who's the momentum is next day's pitcher and all that stuff. So you look at the momentum, and Atlanta needs to feel good that they got 1 out of 2. They got to feel good about the starting pitching matchups heading into Game 3. But Houston has to feel good because they just jumped on Max Fried, you could argue, is Atlanta's best pitcher. And, so you could go, and they just even up the series. They're the team that won last. So momentum, it's an interesting question. Who has the momentum? You can make a case either way. Let's see. Egg421, thank you for the sub. Welcome to Ballcap Nation. Hold on, I'm missing a couple of comments. Chris Rogers, Atlanta wins 1 more at home and will not win again. And that could set up Max Fried for game 5. We'll see. Atlanta wins 1 more at home. Chris Rogers. James D. Atlanta still has momentum. They haven't lost at home in the playoffs. Ian Anderson will get the job done. James. Let's see. Edward, yes, let's get to 15 likes. What are we at? I don't have it up in front of me. Let's get it. I like round even numbers, so if we can get to 20, 20 is a good number. Hit that like if you haven't hit that like yet. Let's see if we can get to 20. Can you guys get us to 20? This is your stream. This is your stream. I'm here for you. Let's see if we can get this thing to 20. Tiki, it just seems every prediction we've all had goes the opposite. You have Braves at 6. Tiki, who do you have with the momentum right now? Who's got the momentum heading into Atlanta? I can't be original. I'm going to say Houston has the momentum. Because their bullpen isn't as taxed as the Braves have been. Unfortunately, Morton got hurt, and Atlanta had to use multiple guys. Houston has, Jake Odorizzi. You're right. That is an interesting. That's a good valid point. Houston has a better record on the road than they do at home. Apple plays. Atlanta jumped on Houston's best pitcher in Game 1 as well. Matthew Madden, the biggest advantage of being in Atlanta is the size of the outfield and how Houston has to structure their lineup without the DH. Losing the DH, just as the DH was an X factor in the Braves' favor in game 1 and 2, Astros losing the DH is definitely going to be a factor here. Alvarez is going to have to play the outfield. They're going to lose a bat. And losing a bat, I mean, they can't lose Maldonado, right? He's been their worst hitter. You can't take him out. So you're going to have a pitcher and Maldonado. You have 2 guys that really you can't expect much out of. So that'll be how Dusty Baker can manage it. Now, Dusty Baker's a National League guy, so he knows how to do that. He knows how to put together a National League lineup. I don't see Atlanta taking all its home games. There's no way. Yeah, I can't see Atlanta sweeping at home. I do think they could get 2 of them. They need to get 2 of them. For my prediction, Braves in 6, they need to get 2 of them. Chris Rogers, they don't have to face Morton. That is big. The Morton injury really comes up big here. Trey Lee, we for sure going to win Game 1. All that we need. To be honest, I feel like Atlanta bullpen would be exhausted by Game 5. James, any Braves fans should be happy they split in Houston. Exactly. Apple plays the next 3 games. can easily be determined by a managerial decision. Definitely. Which manager do you trust more in that situation? Harder to manage in the NL Park or AL Park? Definitely the NL Park for sure. Yep. Jim, can you formally welcome me to Ballcap Nation? My privacy settings did not announce. Oh, it's all right. Steve! Welcome to Ballcap Nation. You have been a good card-carrying member of Ballcap Nation, especially since we started these live streams. So thank you, Steve. Dr. 8, I thought Atlanta would win in the beginning, so I'll stick with that. Yeah, I'm not changing my prediction. I'm not changing my prediction. I'll stick with Atlanta in 6. Also interesting to see how Dusty managed the NL game. He used to be an NL manager. Sancho Mack, the Astros came from the NL. They know how to handle it. But none of these guys, right? The only help there is that Dusty Baker was a National League manager. It's been a long time since the Astros were in the National League. None of these Astros played with, as National Leaguers, right? You got Altuve is a lifer, Bregman, Correa, they're all lifers. Brantley played in the American League most of his career. So, let's see. Tiki, you say the Astros have it, their lineup can just hit. Let's get Tiki on the board. Oof. Matthew, Greinke will get a start just for his bat in Game 4. No, I don't know. I don't know if you want him to start. Maybe just let him pinch hit. That's it. Just let Greinke pinch hit. I don't know if you need him to pitch. He's been in Houston for 3 years now. I think it's 2 years. Dusty, 2 years. Last year and this year. Tiki say the Braves have an advantage with the National League rules. Definitely do. It's Knicks. If Anderson is under 20 pitches in the first, the Braves will have momentum in Game 3. Chris Rogers, Tucker replace center. Brantley right. Brantley will play right. Left, you can do that with Siri or McCormick's bat. So you got to have, I think you go with Tucker, Brantley, and Alvarez, and then you make the switches. So there won't be Siri. Siri or McCormick are going to have to come off the bench. Is Atlanta's ballpark smaller than Houston's? I don't believe so. I think Houston's is smaller, if I remember right off the top of my head. Especially with those Crawford boxes. Chris, I agree. If they have any sort of lead, they can replace Alvarez with Siri. Yeah, that's what they got to do. Late in the game, once you've had Alvarez's last at-bat, or it's not important, if you want the defensive upgrade, you take Alvarez out. That could come into play. That could backfire. But, if you need it, that you have that option. That's where Dusty being a National League manager is important. Matthew Madden, outfield is second largest in the MLB. Let's see. Don't know about the rest. The manager is what managers will be important here. It was we've been talking about it. It was important in the LA series. I think Roberts messed up. Let's see. The Astros have been to 3 World Series. They have to be somewhat familiar with the NL rules. Yeah, no doubt. That's a good point. And I think they are anyway. Obviously, they are anyway. Tucker Davidson may be the wild card in this. He was great in his starts before the injury. Could be the answer for Game 5. I can't wait to see who Atlanta's going to put. What they're going to do for Game 5. Let's see. Houston is smaller. Dr. 8, they took 3 from the Nats in 2019. No problem adjusting to NL. Yeah, I'm not worried about them really adjusting. Really, what it's just going to come down to is there will be certain moments in the game where it's going to be on Baker. It's going to be on Snit to make a decision with, pinch hitting, moving the lineup around, the double switches. If they take Alvarez out, really that's the key factor here is the outfield for the Astros, the Alvarez playing left field. If there's an issue there, listen, it's been a long time, but who remembers Game 6 between the Rangers and the Cardinals? Nelson Cruz in right field, David Freese hitting the ball over his head. You had a better right fielder out there than Nelson Cruz, then the Rangers win the World Series. But Nelson Cruz is not even at that point. I mean, this is going back like 10 years. He was not a good outfielder then. He was in his earlier 30s. Was not a good outfielder. And you want to have your best defense. So late in the game, 8th, 9th inning, Alvarez has got to come out. You got to put the better fielder because it could be the difference between winning the game. So that is going to be, when does Dusty do that? Does he do it in the 9th? Does he do it in the 8th? If he does it in the 8th, then because Houston has a lead, but Atlanta comes back and ties it, you go into extras. Playing in a National League park opens up the door for second guessing all day long. Let's see. Let me get back to you guys. Neil, Astros swept the Nationals in their home. Yeah, they, in 2019, the road game won every game of the World Series. Chevy, you had the Astros yesterday. So did I. I did too. I had the Astros winning yesterday. It was, I just kind of felt it coming. We did have a lot of Atlanta picks yesterday, and that's all good. But it did feel like Houston would get that one, and they did. So Chevy, you had the Astros yesterday. Trey, I feel like we're better without a DH, to be honest. 1 through 7, our team is a hard out. Extra batter just makes it better, though. Young Jedi, told you, bro, Astros yesterday. Yeah, anybody that picked the Astros yesterday, it's okay to, boast a little bit. Apple plays, Trey, you can say the same for Atlanta. I think that's what he's... Oh, you're talking... Okay, you are... Right, Trey, I was reading you as something else. Right, you feel better about 1 through 7? I don't know. I think you're going to miss that DH. Yesterday, if you didn't have Jose Siri in the game, yesterday could have been different. I think Jose Siri was a major factor in that second inning, and I think that second inning was the moment in the game. Jose Siri busting it to first, beating it out, and then going from first to third, and then ultimately getting to score. If that's Yordan Alvarez trying to bust it down to first, he's not going to make it. If that's most of the other... So that is important. You won't have Siri. You won't have McCormick, at least to start these games. No DH hurts the Braves, to be honest. Jock has been playing good. Apple plays. Jock has been kind of struggling since he became a starter. He was doing better pinch hitting. So it actually plays in his favor that he'll be pinch hitting, I think. It's almost like he needs that. He needs that rush. Let's see. Matthew, I think it depends on where the batting order is for when it happens. Definitely. You can't take him out if you think that Alvarez is going to bat next inning. If you finish up the top of the 8th, and well, how's it going to go? Yeah, it'll be top of the 8th. You finish up the top of the 8th, Houston, and Alvarez is the final out. I think you take him. I think the bottom of the 8th, bottom of the 9th, you would have somebody else out there in the field. The Angry Brave, Jock is definitely better coming off the bench. Yep, definitely. Steve, I want Soler's power and Jock off the bench. Definitely. Jose Siri changed the game. The movement changed better. Siri was big. Siri was a big factor. The hype man for the Astros, definitely, and he was a big factor last night. I think Atlanta has to go with the lineup of Soler, Freeman, Ozzie, Riley, Eddie, Duvall, d'Arnaud, Swanson. So you like Duvall all the way down there. Soler. I guess the question is just who do you like better against Garcia to start things off, Soler or Eddie? I know Soler had been leading off a lot, and that's part of this. Soler had been leading off a lot since he came over, or at least towards the end of the season. Does that lineup play better with him? And then you have Eddie coming up with runners on. If Eddie's leading off, he's only going to get, 4 at-bats, maybe 5. I mean, if you're hitting him in the top of the lineup, you get a 5th at-bat. But you take an at-bat away for him to hit with somebody on base potentially. Would you rather have him hitting with somebody on base and have 1 less at-bat? Or would you rather him have an extra at-bat, but that extra at-bat, there's no one on base? Is Garcia left or right-hander? He's right-hander. He's a righty. He gets roughed up at home. That's the issue here. Is, let's see. Luis Garcia's stats. Again, we'll do this again tomorrow. We'll talk about the splits, but some of you might not be here tomorrow, so we'll talk about it here right now. Where are we going here? This is interesting. This is just not a good start for the Astros. Oh, my God. Now, I understand, guys, I understand this is regular season. It's different in the postseason than it is during the regular season, but we can get a baseline. On the road, His ERA is 4.24. At home, it's 2.39. 2.39 at home. 4.24 on the road. What that tells me, as a person, he just feels more comfortable pitching at home than he does on the road. So at home, a 2.39 ERA as opposed to 4.24. And it's not like, oh, they're jumping on him. He's just giving up more home runs or whatever. He's giving up more base runners. A whip of 1.01 at home, 1.33 on the road. He's just not as effective on the road. Other interesting factor. So those Brave lefty bats. This is where the Braves are going to have a choice between Jock and Soler. Against righties, Garcia's batting average against. He has held righty hitters to a 182 batting average and a 548 OPS. Garcia against righties. 182 batting average, 548 OPS. The lefties? Oh my God. Astro fans, you have to hate this. A 279 batting average against to lefties and 814 OPS. When the lefties that the Braves can throw out there are Freeman and Rosario and Albies and Jock Peterson. I'm going to say it now. I think Jock Peterson starts Game 3 over Soler. I think you have Duvall. Maybe they make it might be a tough call between Duvall or Soler. I think Jock starts. Why don't you let Jock lead off? Why don't you let Jock lead off? It's almost like he's pinch hitting it in the first inning, right? First at bat, he's coming up first. Why don't they let Jock lead off? That's what I would like to see. I would like to see Jock Peterson lead off Game 3 with Garcia's struggles on the road, struggles against lefties, load up the lefties to start this game. Jock Peterson, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, then go to the righty Riley, then go back to the lefty with Rosario. Load up on the lefties. That's what's interesting to me. Let me get back to you guys. Apple, I still don't think you play Jock. I don't know the splits. He just isn't doing well against lefties. Trey, you would love for Jock to start. Yes. Okay, I understand. I feel like there's just it all points to a leadoff home run for Jock Peterson if he's the leadoff man against Luis Garcia in Atlanta. Let's see. He was leading off for the Cubs too when he was with Chicago, so he has led off this year. You know what else we can look up? Let's look up Jock Peterson in that leadoff spot this year, because we can look that up. How did he do as a leadoff hitter? Let's see. Jock Peterson leading off. Batting first. As a leadoff hitter, Jock Peterson this year, 61 times Jock Peterson led off a game. 12 home runs as the leadoff hitter. He doesn't have 12 leadoff home runs, but he has batting first as a leadoff hitter this year, a 261 batting average and a 785 OPS as the leadoff hitter. Leading off first batter of a game, he had 2 leadoff home runs this season. Leading off an inning, he hit 9 home runs. Leading off an inning, 2 home runs in the leadoff spot for a game. I don't know. I think there's something there. Let's see. Yeah, the Angry Brave, he probably won't do it, but I think there's something there. If you're trying to, catch lightning in a bottle, you're trying to put Jock Peterson in an opportunity to succeed. I would rather fire that bullet earlier in the game. The Braves batting average in innings 7, 8, and 9 is at 209. We talked about that. It's 260, probably higher at this point in the first 6 innings of the game. everything just points to just put Jock in the leadoff spot. Give him a chance. I mean, the 261 batting average. Listen, the only inning where he has a higher batting average, or the only spot in the lineup where he has a higher batting average, is if he's batting sixth. And he's only got 28 plate appearances batting sixth. 261 plate appearances as a leadoff hitter this year. So that's a pretty good track record. A 261 batting average. 261 batting average. His batting average on the season was 238. It's not crazy. Soler just came back 3 games ago from COVID, and it seems like, well, I don't think Apple. I don't know. Game 1, the leadoff homer, he went 2 for 5. I don't know if you can totally say that. Outside of those moments, sure. Trey, if you bench Soler, I feel like that would mess him up. I mean, you would have Soler coming off the bench. You would pinch hit Soler, and you could try to do that again. You know, if Houston's in a spot where it's Rayleigh, and he's got to go. You know, he's still in his 3-batter minimum. You know, you could try to capitalize on that with Soler. Let me see. What was? It just feels like there's an opportunity there for Jock. Versus righties, versus lefties, 16 home runs for Peterson, but his batting average was actually, he didn't have as many opportunities against lefties, but his batting average was a little bit higher against lefties, so he was hitting lefties. I do want to look at Soler against righties. Against righties this year, Soler hit 223, but he hit 224 against lefties. The OPS against lefties was 846. So if you could pinch hit Soler against Rayleigh, or some, put him in a situation where he's pinch hitting against the lefty, that could maximize Soler's value. How many walks and strikeouts in the leadoff role for Jock Peterson? Let me look that up. Marcus Link, I'm going to get to your comment in just a second. How can the series be blown if it's tied going 1-1? We were talking about it yesterday. It came up in the chat that Atlanta, after losing Charlie Morton, needed to get 2 games because there's just the odds of them sweeping in Atlanta are bad, and you don't want to go back to Houston. I think they can. I think they'll be okay. Let's see. In that leadoff spot. 16 walks. His on base, not good. 16 walks. His on base percentage was .314 as the leadoff hitter. So not that great. Struck out 63 times, but leading off an inning, or leading off the game, 4 walks leading off the game. He struck out 17 times leading off a game. I think there's something there. Floyd, we're coming for the crown. Atlanta can't slow down that offense. The Astros are very potent. Atlanta can't slow down that offense. Astros are very potent. Dr. 8, I wish I could talk more in the chat, but I don't have much to say, so I'm just listening. No problem. No problem. Thank you for hitting that like. If you're here and you haven't hit the like yet, do like Dr. 8 and hit that like. Trey, I'm just hoping Eddie cools down like Kiki. Rosario is an interesting factor. Rosario last night, 0 for 4. So you cooled him off last night in that leadoff spot. And then in game 1, what did Rosario do in game 1? Rosario game 1 was 2 for 5. With the double. So you cooled them off in game 2. Marcus, Atlanta's 18 bullpen has to be great, so I think they can take 2 in Atlanta. And that, Marcus, that is my pick. That is the way I see it going to. I think they get 2 of these games in Atlanta, and then they win it in game 6. Brenda, at the end of the day, this game is all mental. Houston has shown time and time they are fighters and focused. With Booze and the media bringing up the cheating scandal, Houston is mentally locked in. Fair point. Apple plays. I think I will stick with Soler. I like his plate approach and would rather have Jock off the bench. Fair. Sideline. The sideline. Welcome in. What is your prediction from here on out? I think, well, I guess I just said it before I got to your comment. I think Atlanta takes 2 at home, and I think they get it in game 6. That my prediction at the beginning was Atlanta game 6, so I got to stick with that. I did pick Houston to win last night, but I think it goes the rest of the way like that. The Angry Brave, Rosario is going to feed off the Braves crowd, though. He loves when they chant his name. Like that. Trey Lee, you think Dusty should move Yuli or Bregman? I think they should. I think they can leave the lineup like it is. I think they did. They showed they were good enough. If they had a repeat of game 1, then yeah, I think they needed to make some changes. But I think they can hang in there. Been there, done that. Astros play better when fans are yelling at them. Who's more important, Minter or Javier? It's a good question. At this point, Minter, because there's no Morton. I think it's Minter. Let's see here. What did I want to look at? I wanted to look up Rosario. And I want to see how he's done in that stadium this year. 2021, Eddie Rosario by ballpark. At Truist Park, Eddie Rosario has a 926 OPS during the regular season. Only 11 games during the regular season. He has he's creeping up on that number here in the postseason. But during the regular season, 4 homers and the 926 OPS at Truist Park. And obviously, he only would have been playing at Truist Park as a member of the home team. So he did well there. He did well there, and we've seen how he's done in the playoffs. Broccoli, and I see your icon too. I see that's good. I feel like this is going to 7. Astros are going to take 2 in Atlanta, lose game 6, then win it in 7. If it goes to game 7, I think the Astros win it. Even with Greinke or Garcia woes, who's more important, Minter or Javier? That's a good point. I mean, you can only use, if you have to go long with Christian Javier, you can only do it for one of those guys. With Minter, you hope you don't have to go long, but he can go long. You hope to see Minter more. That's a close one. That is a good point. That's a great question, Edward. That's close. The sideline, I don't see Houston losing to a beat-up Atlanta. I think if Atlanta doesn't do in 6, then it's Atlanta. Then Houston in 7. Apple plays. Can you see Soler's stats since coming to Atlanta? I know he was awesome since coming to Atlanta. He caught fire. That Jorge Soler that we saw in Kansas City back in 2019, where he hit like 50 home runs, that's who he became with Atlanta. So with Kansas City, Soler, 94 games and 13 home runs, a 192 batting average. That's who Alex Anthopoulos traded for. With Atlanta, a 269 average. So 192 to 269, and he hit 14 home runs. 13 homers in 94 games to 14 homers in 55 games with Atlanta. He caught fire with Atlanta. And Duvall did the same thing. Duvall also caught fire. Bam, you got Braves in game 3. Larry, Astros are the way better team here. Paul, Braves have to take full advantage of... Have to take full advantage of what, Paul? Keep going. Elaborate more. Do continue. Apple plays the sideline injury. Let's say wise. I would say both teams are in the same situation. Both lost one of their best pitchers. Trey Lee, if Minter go long, would love to see that because they... Right. Yeah, if you're Atlanta, you don't want Minter to go long, but they may need... I mean, it's going to be so important on how Snicker manages the pitching the rest of the way. Change-up first pitcher is going to kill Atlanta because the Astros know they love to hit first pitches. I think Ian Anderson is going to... His fastball change-up combo is just going to be tough to figure out. And I think that's going to come through in game 3. If you think both teams are fully healthy, meaning Acuna, Morton, Verlander, McCullers, who do you have winning? If they're all healthy, Atlanta. Acuna, I'll put it this way. If I were drafting those 4 players, I would draft Acuna first, and it wouldn't even be a thought. So he's a no-brainer. So the gap between Acuna and the other 3 are big. We don't know what Verlander would have had this year. He's getting older. McCullers is important. Morton is showing that he's one of the best pitchers. So Morton and McCullers kind of cancel each other out in terms of importance. And Verlander, if he's healthy, he's good. But I take Acuna. So I would pick Atlanta out of that. JL, is Soler a defensive liability over Jock? I just know him for his power bat. Yeah, Soler's not great in the field. Jock's no Gold Glover either. But if I was to pick one of those 2 in the outfield, I don't know. I mean, Soler's played a decent outfield since coming over. It's about even. All right, and the Braves, don't forget, there's Soroka in that mix. If they're all healthy, you're adding Soroka in there. Paul Hester, Braves have to take full advantage of no DH for the Astros. Also start pinching Brantley and Jackson up and end, back them off the plate, up and in. The DH is going to be important, to your point. Don't sleep on the Braves, man. They're scrappy good. I know. I'm not sleeping on the Braves. I have them winning. Apple plays. Dr. 8, what is more likely? Greinke having a flashback or pitching like his old self, or an Atlanta pitcher filling in for Morton and not missing a beat? I think the Atlanta side. I have no trust in Greinke anymore. I think he has aged himself out of any relevancy in this postseason. Victor, I think this goes 7. Either team could win, but I hope it's the Astros. It will be who has the better pitching. Let's see. Let's do this. I'm going to move the chat around. So, all right, there we go. Dr. 8, Verlander isn't good in the playoffs, generally speaking. Let's see, the sideline, but also Jake Myers. Right, you got Jake Myers isn't there, but obviously, with Acuna out, that's the biggest blow. Morton and McCullers, those are about an even blow. Soroka, you miss him. You miss Verlander. Myers is in the mix. But do you really know how much you have with Myers? Right? Straw was out there for so long. Myers came in after Straw. JL, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Love the channel. As an Astros fan, you've given the Astros a fair shake during their recent troubles. Yeah, again, this channel is safe for everybody. Astros fans, Yankee fans, Dodger fans. I'm not going to bust on everybody. I love baseball. I'm a Jays fan. I guess maybe if I was a Dodger fan, I would have a different feeling towards the Astros. I don't know, but I'm not. So that's just my opinion on that. I'm a baseball fan. And if you like baseball and you have not subscribed and you're just finding the channel for the first time, anybody that's out there, make sure to subscribe. Come on. Join Ballcap Nation. Come on in. Join the squad. Join Ballcap Nation. It sounds cool, kind of, I think. And, hey, give us a chance. So if you love baseball, I think this is a good place for you to be. Kyle Wright was good in last year's playoffs. Could be a huge factor. Yeah, the Kyle Wright situation is out there. He switched sides of the rubber that he was standing on, and all of a sudden he was getting better results. So, and struck out the side last night. What can he do? We'll see. Greinke's so underrated as a momentum changer. His stuff is so slow, it changes everything. I know, but he was walking so many hitters last time out. He was trying to miss bats. I think he knows that his stuff doesn't play in the strike zone, and I think the other teams know that. Hayden, what's up, man? Welcome in. We do have the whiteboard up. The whiteboard is, who do you think has the momentum heading into Atlanta? That is the question. Let me get it down here because we're at a spot where it's really not. Did Houston steal the momentum taking game 2, or does Atlanta still have it? Does Atlanta still have it when you look at the starters, when you look at the fact that they split these first 2 games? Who has the momentum heading into Atlanta? Morton is clutch. He's a big game pitcher. Yeah, Morton has established himself as one of the best postseason pitchers. Sideline. Yesterday he said wouldn't take a healthy Acuna over a healthy Trout. I think he's crazy. What do I think? Healthy Acuna, healthy Trout. Listen, we're at a point. I play fantasy baseball, and we're at a point where Acuna gets drafted ahead of Trout. That's where we're at. So, a lot of people are starting to take Acuna over Trout. Mascot. Is that how that? Something's wrong on my screen. There it is. Thank you for the sub. Welcome to Ballcap Nation. Blue Jays have a bright future. I'm a Nats fan. I live outside the DC area, so I'm pretty close to Nats culture and everything that's going on with that team. Appreciate that. I root for the Nats. I say I root for that. I've been to a bunch of Nats games. I've been to Nats Park. When they were good, that was really fun. I'm really kind of worried about the direction the Nats are going. Let's see. Paul. Wish White Sox had let Tony La Russa go and hired Ozzie Guillen to finish. Yeah, interesting situation for the White Sox because La Russa's not going to be there for a long time. And if they do get to a point where they're winning and succeeding, you're going to have to find a new manager because Tony La Russa isn't going to be there forever. That's the only problem with hiring an aging manager like that. I think we're at a point. The shift has happened where Trout is still really good, but he doesn't steal bases anymore. He's hitting for more power, but you get the power with Acuna and the speed, so it's Acuna. And that's a new shift, right? That's a new shift. There are going to be people late to the party there. Marcus, Atlanta, they haven't lost at home this postseason yet. They probably will drop 1, but definitely won't get swept. No, I think they get 2 in Atlanta. Let's see. It doesn't feel like there's momentum in this series, and that's fine. Somebody else put that out there. Nobody has the momentum. That is fine. Burnout. 2K. Nobody. That is a fine response. I did see a couple other people had one. Marcus, you had Atlanta. Let's see the sideline. JL, thank you for the sub. Welcome to Ballcap Nation. Happy to have you here. Thank you guys. Thank you and thank everybody for being here in our middle of the day, yet to be named stream. I have no idea what we're going to call it. Maybe I'll put it up to you guys. Maybe I'll put up a poll. You guys can name this thing. Sal3 has just subscribed. Thank you for the sub. Happy to have you here. Talking baseball, middle of the day. We started this last week. This is week 2. We're seeing some good growth. Last week, we were living at like 20 and 30 viewers. We're up to 73 right now. So thank you guys for coming in, hanging out, talking baseball. I love to talk baseball. I hope you guys do too. I think you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Let's see. I'm looking for more of the names to go on the whiteboard. I think we have everybody. Is that everybody? Hayden, you have the Braves. JL, White Sox should have hired Hinch. Yeah. It's fair. I don't think Acuna has hit his prime yet either. I agree with that. I wish Acuna was playing in the World Series. I think we're all he is obviously the one getting robbed the most of this experience. But as fans, we're all getting robbed from seeing arguably the best player in baseball on the biggest stage. Really, the most disappointing part about this World Series is that. Mets have one of the best GMs in baseball. When they took over, they were the worst team in baseball. Rizzo, yeah, I think I don't know how much I love Rizzo. I don't know how much he can do. I think ownership there actually holds him back. And I have a whole long thing on that. Astros going to be handicapped with no DH and a weak hitting catcher. Agree. Trey Lee, thank you for the sub. Welcome to Ballcap Nation. Happy to have you here. Make sure everybody, mark your calendars. This 11 o'clock time in the East, 8 in the West, and it's doing well, so we will continue to do it. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back next week at the same time. Even once the World Series is over, we will be back and we will be diving into the free agency. We'll be diving into trade targets and rumors and everything. So, and I keep my ear to the ground on everything. So a good place to kind of get the scoop on what's going on with free agency and trade targets. I watch it all. So it's a good place, if you want sort of a daily update on that. Even once the World Series is over, you can come on back for that stuff. Daily baseball brunch. Apple likes the daily baseball brunch. But here, but you got to think about the West Coast. They're still having breakfast, but I guess that's why it could be brunch. Let's see. Trey, if Correa leaves, you think Bregman goes to shortstop? We bring Corey Lee up? I think it's a good question. I think the Astros try to replace Correa with another shortstop. I could see Trevor Story. I could see the Astros getting a big name in to replace Correa at shortstop. Verlander's going back to Detroit. From Steve, I think there's a very good chance that happens. Where do I think Cruz and Encarnacion go? Love to see Edman back. If the National League does go ahead and get the DH, I think Edwin ends up in the National League somewhere. Cruz, I could see Cruz back in Minnesota. I mean, he took a discount to go back with them last year. He could go back to Minnesota. But there are a handful of teams that could certainly use Nelson Cruz. Christopher, you have Houston with the momentum. Let's see. I also think we had a sub, and I did not acknowledge the sub. That is a problem. Or did we get that? Trey Lee. I think, Trey Lee, did I acknowledge you? The subs recently. Trey, thank you for the sub. If I didn't. Eric, thank you for the sub. Jay, thank you for the sub. Sal, Job, Egg, Matthew. All subs that are public to the chat with the sub. Thank you. Some of you are probably subscribing and you have your settings set to private, so it will not do an alert if you are set to private. But all of you that have subbed publicly, thank you. Eric, you have Houston. And hit that like if you have not hit the like yet. Hit that like. It is the best way to support. Listen, I love that you guys are here in the middle of your day when you could be doing countless other things. And maybe you should be doing countless other things right now. And I'm killing some time for you. If I'm a good time kill, hit that like. I love that you guys are here. If I could, in kind, give a like back, I would do that for you guys. Hit that like if you have not yet. It supports the stream. It supports the channel. It is, I appreciate it. I appreciate it greatly when you guys hit that like. It's like a promotion when you hit the like, because what happens is YouTube, the algorithms, that's what they look at. How many likes did it get? Not necessarily how many views, but how many likes. So the likes are a big support. I think we're at 33. If we can get to 40 would be an awesome number. Let me see. Angry Brave, thank you for the sub. Thank you, man. Welcome to Ballcat Nation. Let's see. I want to get back to you guys. It helps work pass. I'm with you, man. I've had jobs before where it would be nice to have a baseball outlet. Right now, ESPN Radio and Fox Sports and ESPN on TV, they're all focused and fixated on football. and the NBA just getting started. There, in my opinion, there are not enough baseball outlets, so I'm trying to be that for you guys and for myself. Because again, like I said, I like talking baseball, and you guys come in with a lot of comments, a lot of questions, a lot of topics that get me thinking baseball. So I appreciate it. Eric, the Astros now feel like the Golden State Warriors a few years ago. They won't go down easy. They definitely won't go down easily. Paul, you hit the sub right on to. Again, did it? If you hit the sub, if you subscribed and it did not do the alert, it probably means that you have your settings set to private subs, and it won't do the alerts if you have that setting. I don't know how that works, if that's something you turn on or if it's something that's automatically on. But that's the only reason why it would not give an alert. The Angry Brave, I feel like most of the media is rooting for Houston. I've seen everyone push for Dusty Baker. There's definitely a lot of push for Dusty Baker. I don't know. As an impartial contributor to the situation, not a Braves fan, not an Astros fan, I really haven't picked up too much on, oh, Joe Buck wants the Astros to win. Or, oh, the guys on that set, A-Rod and Big Papi and Frank Thomas, they want the Braves. I have not picked up much on that. I think if you're a fan of a team, it's easy to kind of pick up on that. You might be listening a little closer. But I haven't really picked up too much on. I know there's definitely some love for Dusty. So I don't know. Wait though, Adrian, you see it, right? I'm glad you got the laughing emoji. I know. See, that's the thing. Sometimes YouTube is just a game, right? You see people clickbaiting. You see people with BS stuff that they don't talk about at all or is completely irrelevant. So I kind of wanted to poke fun at that. Ryan, what's up, man? Welcome in. I kind of wanted to poke fun at that. Obviously, a thumbnail after the Astros win that says, are the Astros cheating? That's legit. There is no legitimacy to that. But it would get an incredible amount of clicks. And then you could come on and just say some outrageous BS about, they were cheating off Max Fried or something. You could make it up. So I kind of wanted to poke fun at that. And that's why I sort of, that's why the thumbnail is what it is. And I hope it's not lost. I hope nobody clicks on that and they're like, they're mad and they actually think that I think the Astros are cheating. Let's see. Looking at this. Astros should get Corey Seager. That could be in play. It's gonna be so much fun, guys. I can't even explain to you how much fun it's gonna be during the off season when we're talking about that stuff. There's gonna be so many rumors to talk about, so many possibilities to talk about. I can't wait. Ryan, you got the Braves winning tonight. The Braves win tomorrow night. No game tonight. Dusty Baker, famous for mismanagement of pitching staff. Kerry Wood in '84 was 94. For Kerry Wood, that would have had to been 94. 94. 04. Yeah, Kerry Wood was not pitching in the 90s, was he? I don't think it was. That would have been 04. Wouldn't that be funny though? It will be interesting to see, right, with Seager and the Houston thing. Do Houston question Astros fans that are in here? We know Dodgers fans hate Bregman, Correa, and Altuve. Do any Astro fans, do you hate anybody from those Dodger teams? Does it go both ways? I'm curious. Astros fans that are here. I know we got a bunch of them. What's your take on that? Do you hate Corey Seager? Do you hate Cody Bellinger? Do you hate players that were on the 2017 Dodgers? Or do you not care? Let me know what you think. Astros fans, comment. Something about lights in the outfield that came up in the Red Sox. That there were cheating allegations against the Astros in the Red Sox series. Red Sox broadcasters thought Framber Valdez was cheating. There was the lights in the outfield thing. Been there, done that. It's Joe Kelly. Yeah, definitely. Joe Kelly wasn't even on the 2017 Dodgers. That's funny. Let's see. It's the fans more than the players. Braves hate the Dodgers more than the Astros. Houston fans hate the uniforms, not the players. I can't stand Kelly. Hate the fans more than the players. Joe Kelly. My thoughts on tomorrow night, Naveen, is that Atlanta will win. That will be my prediction for tomorrow. But remember, if you weren't here yesterday, I had Houston winning tonight. Or last night. I had Houston winning game 2. So it's not a bias thing. I'm not picking the Braves every day. Jesse Munoz, thank you for the sub. Welcome to Ballcap Nation. I am glad that you are a part of Ballcap Nation, Joe. Jesse. Why do I think Joe? Did we have a Joe earlier that subscribed? We had a Jay. We had a Job. Is it Job or Job? Are you a fan of Arrested Development? Is it Job or is it Job? Because in Arrested Development it's Job. Joe Kelly, so it's really Joe Kelly, and it's because it's the pouty face thing he did last year. Again, Joe Kelly wasn't even on the 2017 Dodgers. That's the funny thing about that. But he took it upon himself to represent, I don't know, something last year. So, and we are at 37 likes. We are 3 likes away from 40. Are there 3 out there that have not hit the like yet that can get us to 40? If you're chatting with me, if you're in the chat with me, hit that like. Hit that like. It is a great support for the channel and for the video. Let's see. Edward, Joe Kelly, and Chris Taylor. What about Chris Taylor? What about, you got to tell me about Chris Taylor. Bam, teams cheat just like players have been taking PEDs since at least the 60s. D. Nick, Joe Kelly, and Bellinger. Christopher Gully in 2018. 2018. What hold on. You might have been commenting about something I said about that. Okay, working the rat fires. Fires. The rat. That's funny. Adrian, I just think it's crazy because everyone is hating Houston, but so many other players have been caught cheating as well. How come everyone hates the Astros, but the Blue Jays welcome Springer? It's because the reason why everyone hates the Astros, they won the World Series. It was in the World Series. And it was this whole thing with technology, cameras. That's why. If you pick up that a pitcher is tipping his pitches, or you pick up a sign from the third base coach, that is generally allowed. That is considered just being observant. But when you start using technology, that's when it goes south. Ryan hates the Astros. Let's see. Naveen, is the starter tomorrow night for the Braves a better pitcher than the one last night? You got Ian Anderson tomorrow. You probably... in some areas, yes. In some areas, no. I like Ian Anderson's matchup here better. Eric, to be honest, no hate would be out there if the Astros win a ring with the... Now, it'll be interesting if the Astros win this thing. Does that change people's minds? I think that's to your point. If the Astros win the World Series, chat, this is your time. I have a question for the chat. I think there's a way to do a poll. I got to figure that out. I was watching the guys. I was watching John Boy and Jake and damn it, I'm forgetting the Chris. I was watching them last night. They're running polls during their chat. I got to figure out how to do that. Here's what I want to know. Type 1. Here's the question. Let me give you the question. I'll tell you what to do. Here's the question. If the Astros win the World Series, this year, does that change your opinion? Does that say, do you move on from the cheat thing? Or will it always be the cheat thing? So the question is, If the Astros win the World Series, do you move on from the 2017 thing? 1, if you do. 2, if you don't. 1, if you move on from the cheating thing if they win the World Series this year. 2, if that's completely irrelevant and you will always hate the 2017 Astros. That's my question, because if you hate the 2017 Astros, can you hate the 2021 Astros? So hit 1 for yes, 2 for no. What is your thought on if the Astros win the World Series? Does it change your opinion? 1, yes it does. 2, no it doesn't. Angry Brave has already moved on. Eric, it changes. Reba, it changes. Burnout, it changes. Christopher, Astros didn't really have to cheat. Good point. Could they have won 2017 without cheating? Apple, what if we have already moved on, but still, then you do what you did. You tell me. Naveen, you move on. That's the question. I guess that's a good question. You know, if they can win it this year, and the consensus is they're not cheating, then do you kind of move on from that 2017 thing? Oh, let's see. Current core of Astros. The current core of Astros are busted cheating, right? Those 3. Paul, you do not. All right. Can't stand Trevor Bauer. MP with a Trevor Bauer. You know what? I feel bad for Trevor Bauer. Can somebody... Listen, if anybody were to actually get through to him, they would think they were just trolling him. But can somebody fix Trevor Bauer's setup when he does his streaming? To have the camera way back there, and he's little, and it's in his gym, and he's just sitting there in a chair. I don't know. Can we get Trevor Bauer some help with his video setup? I think he needs some help there. That could look a lot better. My situation will look a lot better. I'm moving, and when I move, we're gonna actually look into this. This is the basement. This is actually a green screen today, because I have my setup to go down here. I had to use the green screen, so this is a green screen, so that way I can jump to this if we need to. But the problem is, I have found if I sit with the screen like this, less people click in to try to get new people. Anyway, so you guys, we see a lot of 1s and a lot of 2s on forgiving the Astros, just moving on from the Astros. Let's see. Again, hit that like, guys. Did we get to 40? 44. We are over 40, so I appreciate that. Wargasm, as an Astros fan, I'm never moving on to. This has been the best 6 to 7 years being an Astros fan. World Traveler, welcome in. Good to see you. A lot of Astros hate. Keep it coming. To be honest, I don't think we have seen, at least here today in the chat, much Astros hate. Let's see. Trey, people don't realize Correa, Altuve, Bregman, etc. don't care. They want to win for them. Those 3 have shown a lot of just F it. I have no F's left to give to the fans that aren't Astro fans. They've been a good job. World Traveler doesn't care what other fans think. Yankees and Red Sox got fined for conduct related to electronic sign stealing in 2017. Manfred announced it in a press conference. Right? No, and Cora was out. Cora lost his job. And then they brought him back. Burnout 2K, I think the cheating adds a straw for the future in teams. Let me read that again. I think the cheating adds a straw man for the future, and teams can just use that as an excuse to announce the Astros moving forward and discredit them. I mean, you can try to discredit the 2017 thing, but if they win it in 2021, you can't discredit 2021. I never move on only because the Mariners team was insane in 17. They lost out in the playoffs by a game and a half. They need the Astros to lose 2 games, so kind of salty. Paul, Astros was Garrett, Verlander, McCullers. Couldn't win the World Series. Astros current pitchers better. I mean, no, they were better. They're not better. The Astros pitchers this year are not better than that group. I think that goes without saying. World Traveler, other teams were cheating. They were. I'm surprised Beltran didn't get a job. After Cora got his job back with Boston. Kind of surprised that Beltran did not get it. Has not didn't get a job this year and has not been offered a job for 2022. Angry Brave, Astros winning now to prove they didn't need to cheat to win is a ridiculous narrative. I mean, they're different teams. They're definitely different teams, but a lot of them are, enough of them are still here. The three of the big ones. Fair counterpoint. World Traveler, it's funny. World Traveler coming in strong. I like it. Urquidy, 2 World Series wins. This is true. Urquidy, something there. He's a good pitcher. The league, let's read your comments, right? I almost feel like the league, they pinned it. I think the league, I don't know, I think the league handled it wrong. Paul, Astros have kept the core together better than other teams. Well, this is what's interesting is they won so young, right? Springer bolted, Correa. Now that his arbitration years are done, he's bolting. We don't know what Bregman will do. They have kept the core together. It'll be interesting to see what they can do continuing moving forward. Again, who's got the momentum heading into tonight? Who's got the momentum heading into, I'm sorry, not tonight. Who's got the momentum heading into game 3? Kurzov, you like the title? I had to just tongue in cheek kind of poke fun at just the whole YouTube, anything, not just YouTube. Just when trying to get clicks, using having really no backing for your title, but using it anyway. So I kind of wanted to poke fun at that. We've got a ton of Astros love right now going on. It's all good. Naveen, Houston. Let's see. Kurzov, Houston. Core got a job because he went back to one of the darlings of MLB. The Red Sox, the Mets aren't one of the darlings of MLB. Yeah, but he could have got, but Beltran could have gotten a job somewhere. Boats and Stros. Houston plays well on the road. They do. World Travel, I am interested. Trey Lee with the question, what do you think about Luis Garcia? I do not feel good about Garcia tomorrow at all. He is not a good start on the road, and lefties jump on him. We were talking earlier. I am a fan of Snitker maybe surprising people and having Jock lead off, because Jock has led off this year, led off 61 games, and his batting average at the leadoff position, at the number 1 spot in the lineup, is the best of any position where he's gotten more than like 30 at bats. So I kind of like Jock as a surprise move to lead off tomorrow. Very, very lover, you have the Braves. So this will be interesting. Astros 5-2 on the road, 7 World Series games. They're a good road team. They just eliminated the White Sox. But what about Garcia? Do you feel good about Garcia? Garcia, both games he pitched in the ALCS were at home. You trust him on the road. Larry, you have Houston. Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame. Bonds will end up in the Hall of Fame in like 50 years when there's a committee that elects him in. Autoimmunity. Braves are undefeated at home this postseason through 5 games. That's true. Who would I start? Who would you start tomorrow in Game 4? For Houston? Well, we know it's Garcia. Game 4 will be a bullpen day. Or you'll have Greinke go for an inning or until his arm falls off, and then you'll go to the bullpen. That's what you'll do for Game 4 for Houston. You'll probably have Greinke. His arm will just, dislodge itself from the rest of his body in the second inning. He'll pick that thing up and walk off. Maybe give Dusty a high five with it, and they'll bring in, Christian Javier. That's my prediction for Game 4. Greinke's arm falls off, and Javier pitches. World Traveler, you were at yesterday's game, and yesterday was your birthday. Happy birthday, World Traveler. First off, happy birthday, and good for you. Your present from your favorite team was a win in the World Series. Good for you. Congratulations. That's great. Tyler, you trust the Astros on the road? Fair, should. Ian Anderson's going to be tough. Tomorrow we'll dive into Game 3 a little bit more. We'll look at the starters. We'll look at the numbers closer. I'll confirm my prediction. I can tell you that I'm going to be favoring the Braves to win Game 3. I had Houston winning Game 2, so I'm not, slide it on one side. Everybody give World Traveler some love. Happy birthdays in the chat for World Traveler. Very fair lover, you should. I don't think that there's any reason why they wouldn't. He could, Paul. Framber's got a good start in him. Framber Valdez has a good start in him. Oh, the Angry Brave. We can have a Hall of Fame stream where we talk about all that. I'm happy to talk about all that stuff. That is a fascinating conversation, argument, discussion as far as the Hall of Fame goes. That's a whole new stream. Again, I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure to subscribe. Stay close to the channel. I can't believe we've been going for almost 2 hours again. Did this yesterday. We're doing it again today. This is only supposed to be an hour, but you guys keep it going. We have 47 likes. Can we get to 50? Hit that like if you think Jose Altuve would hit the like in this stream. I think he would. Hit that like if you think he would hit the like. We got 47. Let's get over that 50 number. Let's pass the 50. Can we get there? I think Jose Altuve would hit that like myself. I really do. So if he would hit the like, then you guys should definitely hit the like if you haven't yet. Yeah, Hall of Fame. Again, we will do there will be the Hall of Fame voting, the Hall of Fame ballot, all that stuff. When that comes out, we will talk about it in this show down the road. We will have this stream. We will be talking about it. Oh, Apple. Cano, right? Cano's probably not going to make it. Over 50 likes. We're at 55 now. Thank you for that. Again, it's tremendous support. Trey and Clint, thank you for the sub. Clint Cava, thank you for the sub. Welcome to Ball Cap Nation. I'm glad to have you here. And you were at the game yesterday as well. It's a good game to be at. If you're an Astros fan, that was a good game to be at. Do I think Jose passes Bernie? I do. I think Jose's got another home run in him in this World Series for sure. And then he's got like 5 or 6 to catch Manny. But more impressive is the home run rate. He has done it in far fewer at-bats. Ryan, be careful. Be careful. I cannot protect you. I cannot protect you if all unholy hell is unleashed on you by the chat. I cannot protect you. So be careful. That's all I'll say. Trey Lee, Astros fan, but man, I love the Braves. Yeah, it's a tough. This is just a good World Series. It's 2 good teams, a ton of narratives, a ton of talking points, all of that. That's the best part about the World Series. Tyler was at the Dodgers and Giants game 1 in the NLDS. Man, that was a great series. That'll go down as the second. I mean, you got the championship series and everything, but that will go down as the second best series in this postseason behind the World Series. All right, guys, here's the thing. We are 2 hours in. I'm so happy that you're here. I hope that you come back tomorrow. We will be previewing Game 3, talking about the potential narratives, talking about everything that could go down tomorrow, Game 3. We'll take a look at the whole weekend, really. We'll talk about, because we're going to go live tomorrow, and then we won't be live again until Monday. The World Series could be over on Monday. I don't think it will be. But we got 3 games in Atlanta over the weekend on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we will tomorrow dive into those 3 games. I will put the whiteboard back up. I will want your opinion on who is going to come out of these 3 games. So I want that. You guys make sure to please come back tomorrow if you have the time. Again, you guys have great thoughts and comments and questions and everything, and so I appreciate that. MVP is announced right after, like within 20 minutes of the final game. MVP for the season is I have that written down somewhere. It's in a couple weeks. But yes, gotta roll. Everybody, thank you again for hopping in. Be back tomorrow to talk about Game 3, Game 4, and Game 5. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Thank you for hopping in. Subscribe if you are new and just finding the channel and you haven't subscribed yet. Hit that like on the way out if you have not hit the like. You guys are great. You are what drives Ballcap Sports. You are Ballcap Nation. You guys are. Even if you haven't subscribed yet. Maybe you'll subscribe one day. Just watching, I appreciate your support. Thank you guys again. Keep an eye out. I will have an upload later today. I will be diving into the top under-the-radar free agents. That will go up today. My most recent upload, doing all right. The top 3 free agents at each position. That's up now. I will be diving into the underrated, under-the-radar free agents. That will be uploaded later today, so keep an eye out for that. Again, thank you guys for being here, spending your time. You could be doing 100 other things. Again, maybe you should be doing some other things right now, but this is a good distraction or something to take you away from something you really don't want to do. Appreciate you guys hopping in. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you guys again, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.